अज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपदान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिने नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So welcome everyone today evening for this discussion. So before we begin, maybe just someone can confirm on chat if I'm clearly audible or is any problem with the audio. I presume it's fine. So our today's discussions will pertain around the meanings of the various mantras that all of you have received recently during the second initiation ceremony. So, but before beginning with that, I wish to lay some background. So there are broadly three margas that are there in Sanatana Dharma. One is the Vedic marga, the second is the Pancharatrika marga, and the third is called Bhagavat marga. So the Bhagavat marga is centered around chanting the holy name of Krishna, reading, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, and so on. This marga is open to everyone, and there are no restrictions of time, place, circumstance. So when it comes to chanting the holy name, Tatrarpita Niyamita Smaranena Kalaha, you can chant in any condition. You can chant in the bathroom, you can chant anywhere we wish to. In the crematorium, one could chant. There are no restrictions about who can chant, where, no, nothing. Anyone is considered eligible. So that is the Bhagavat Marga, which is kind of open to all, which essentially comprises of chanting the holy name and hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. The second marga is Pancharatrika. Pancharatrika marga, as the word suggests, Pancharatra means something that Lord Brahma heard from Krishna in 5 nights. Pancharatra. So in Pancharatra marga, there are various mantras that are given during Diksha, like the Gopal mantra. These are Pancharatrika mantras. And these mantras, to chant them, there is some prerequisite like a Diksha ceremony, and one has to chant it in a clean state and so on. Correct. So these mantras, their purpose is to regulate one's life, to ensure that there is sattva guna increase and so on. Okay. Then there is the Vedic marga. The Vedic marga is primarily even more restricted, as in the Vedic chanting, etc., is to be done only by someone who is a Brahmana. Only they have access to the Veda marga in terms of reciting it and teaching it and so on. So that's how it has always been. So the Brahma Gayatri, the first Gayatri among the 7 mantras that you chant, that is actually part of the Vedic marga. The second to the 7th, which all of you have received, that is part of Pancharatrika marga. And the Harinam Sankirtan that we do, that is part of Bhagavat marga. Okay. So as long as you were first initiated, you are basically engaged only in Bhagavat marga, as in correct chanting the holy name, reading Bhagavatam, etc. So now that your spiritual master found some qualification, he has given you the Pancharatrika mantra. So traditionally, Diksha meant these Pancharatrika mantras only. And the Vedic marga was there only to, I'm just setting some historical context before we go into it as well. So the Vedic marga was open only to someone who was born a Brahmana, quote unquote. the others, it wasn't available. So if you see, until the time of Saraswati Thakur, or before his time, only those who are born in Brahmin families, they would get the Gayatri, the Brahma Gayatri, the first one, the Vedic Marga Gayatri, from their father or whatever, at Upanayan Samskar. And from their guru, they would basically get the Pancharatra mantras. Okay. So that is how it was. But Saraswati Thakur, when he started an organization, he felt that he felt, why can't I give even the Vedic Brahma Gayatri to anyone who's qualified? So he added the giving of Brahma Gayatri as part of the Diksha ceremony. So otherwise, in Parampara in general, the Pancharatrika mantras were given, but the Brahma Gayatri wasn't given till Saraswati Thakur. This is some historical context. Srila Prabhupada, when he went to the West, he felt that the women there were, kind of demanding to be treated equal to the men. And they said, if the men are getting the Brahma Gayatri, even we need it. So he gave them as well. So the thing is, so that is where we are right now, historically. Correct. So before we go into the mantras, I just gave this basic background. The next thing I wish to say is, among the mantras that we all chant, there are three types of mantras. One is called Bija mantra. The second is called Mula mantra, and third is Gayatri mantra. Okay. So Bija mantra means what? Bija, as you know, means seed. So there are three types of bijas that are present, and each of these bijas invoke either the Sat or the Chit or the Ananda potency of the Lord. Okay, so the Pranava Omkar which is there, that basically invokes the Sat potency of the Lord. Then the bija called as Aim or Sreem, or for that matter Hreem. There are several such bijas. They all invoke the Chit potency of the Lord. Aim, Hreem, Sreem, etc. And the Kleem bija, it invokes the Ananda potency of the Lord. Okay. So these are bijas. These three are. So there is a bija for invoking the Sat potency. There are bijas for Chit potency. There are bijas for Ananda potency of the Lord. Then there is Mula mantra. Okay. So the Mula mantra. So each of the mantras, 7 mantras that you chant, either they will have Sat, Chit, or Ananda. Correct. So the first one is having Sat, because that is Brahma Gayatri. The second and third is having Chit, because it addresses the Guru. And the fourth to seventh, because it addresses Mahaprabhu and later Krishna, it has the Kleem. Okay? The Ananda potency is being addressed in the, from the 5th to the 7th. Right? So that's how these three bijas are there. So these are bijas. Then there is something called Mula mantra. Mula mantra means the bija along with a particular deity becomes Mula mantra. Mula means root. Right? So for example, if you say Aim Gurave Namaha, so the second mantra that you chant. So that is a Mula mantra, because in that mantra, you are addressing the Guru, trying to approach him, saying that, oh my dear Guru, please accept my obeisance. So like that. So this is approaching the Guru. So that is the Mula mantra. Similarly, Kleem Gauraya Namaha, the 5th one that you chant. Or there are so many. In fact, if you get introduced to the formal deity worship process, they will give you an entire list of Mula mantras. Correct? I think you must have already got from your respective temple centers also. Somebody doesn't have, I'll send it to you. There is a list of 40, 50 Mula mantras. For every deity, there is a Mula mantra. And everything will have either Om, Aim, or Kleem, depending on who is being addressed. Okay, so for example, Nityananda Prabhu will have Kleem, Advaita Acharya will have Kleem, but Srivas Thakur will not have Kleem. So the Kleem is used only for Vishnu Tattva. The Aim, Sreem, etc. is used for others. So when Radharani is addressed as Sreem Ram Radhika Swaha, so that is her Bija mantra, Sreem. It starts like that only. So these Mula mantras are used in deity worship whenever we offer anything, like you're offering a flower, you will say Etani Pushpani Klim Krishnaya Namah. So then that it's like I'm offering you flowers, hey Krishna, like that. And then you offer Esha Dhupa, Esha Deepa, and then you will say whomever you're offering to Nityanand Prabhu, then you'll use the Mula mantra for Nityanand Prabhu, Klim Devi Janava Valvai. So you'll say Esha Pushpa, or whatever, right? Idam Nevedyam, and then the Mula mantra. So anything that is being offered to the deity, you will say what is being offered, and then you will address the person who is being offered with the help of their Mula mantra. So among the 7 mantras that each of you have got, the second one and the fourth one are actually Mula mantras. The second is the Mula mantra to the Guru, and the fourth is the Mula mantra to Gauranga Mahaprabhu. But there are several Mula mantras, so these 2 are only a sample. It's not that these are the only 2. The 7 is given just for everyone to chant daily, because you are addressing Guru, Gauranga, and Krishna, like that. But there are several Mula mantras. Now coming to the Gayatri. So what is the Gayatri? Gayatri is nothing but a mantra that has a Sambandha, Abhideya, Prayojana as part of it. Any mantra which has all these 3 as a part of it is actually called as the Gayatri. Okay. So the Brahma Gayatri is the Vedic Gayatri, as in it's the first one. The others are Pancharatrika mantras. Now, if you see in our Sampradaya, when we say, like for example, when we hear Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took initiation from Ishwarapuri. So what did he hear from Ishwarapuri? Did Chaitanya Mahaprabhu tell Ishwarapuri, I will chant so many rounds every day? I mean, what was the initiation? To ask that question, the answer is the initiation was nothing but he was given Gopal Mantra, the 6th one. So any time we hear in any sampradaya that they got initiation, it basically means they get one of these Pancharatra mantras, depending on the sampradaya. By the way, Gopal Mantra is given in other sampradayas as well, so it's not unique to ours. So this Gopal, so in fact, among all the Pancharatrika mantras, the most important mantra, if you ask, is considered the Gopala mantra, the 6th one that we chant. Okay, that's considered the most important, relative to everything. That's considered. So this Gopal mantra actually comes in the Brahma Samhita. And if you know the Brahma Samhita, we actually generally chant Ishvara Paramakrishna verse number 1, and then we chant Chintamani. If you see the Brahma Samhita also, Chintamani is the 28th verse or something. The middle 26 verses are not even listed because they contain all these mantras. Okay, so the Gopal mantra is considered as a mantra which was chanted by Lord Brahma as part of his tapasya. And at the end of his chanting Gopal mantra, he hears Krishna's flute. And through the Krishna's flute, he basically hears the Brahma Gayatri and also the Kama Gayatri. Okay, so these he hears later. And the Gopala mantra is, so as I told you, even in the Brihad Bhagavatamrita, the Gopala mantra is being spoken about as the main sadhana of that Gopakumar. Right? He was chanting Gopala mantra on the order of his guru, and finally he achieves the spiritual world. So that 6th one is that Gopala mantra. So as I was saying, Gayatri means one which has Sambandha, Abhideya, Prayojana. Let's go a little bit into it. I will share my screen, and I have not a PPT really, but just one small table which has each of these things mentioned. So we will use this. So I hope this table is visible. Can someone just confirm on chat if you can see this, just so that I...
Yes, Prabhuji. It's visible.
Yes, visible. Thank you. So the Gopala mantra, there are 3 things in it. There is a Sambandha, Abhideya, Prayojana. So Krishnaya is basically referring to Krishna, who is the Sambandha Vigraha, Madan Mohana. Then Govinda, as we all know, is the Abhideya Mukti process. Why Govinda is called Abhideya? Because Govinda, he enlivens the senses, he engages our senses in his service, and so on. There are so many meanings of Govinda. And Gopijana Vallabha is referring to Gopinath, Radha Gopinath, because Gopinath ji is the ultimate destination to be achieved, right? He is the Prayojana Vigraha. So we all know, based on our Sampradayik thought as well, that Krishna as Madan Mohana is the Sambandha Vigraha, Krishna as Govinda is the Abhideya Vigraha, and Krishna as Gopinath, the Lord of the Gopis, is the Prayojana Vigraha. Okay, so the Gayatris will always have all these three. The purpose is, it is like you are beginning from Sambandha, going to Abhideya, and finally reaching the Prayojana. So if you see this Gopal mantra, it is having what is called as 18 syllables. So we can even know some basic counting, how to count 18 syllables. Syllable in Sanskrit means something which ends with a vowel is called as a syllable. Okay. So we'll just count. So the clean itself is one syllable. Now in Krishnaya, what happens? Kr is one syllable. Then Shna is another syllable. Shna. Because sh doesn't have a vowel right with it. So it is Shna. Then ya. So this becomes the fourth syllable. Then go. Then we. And then ind. That ind becomes a syllable. And ya becomes another syllable. So till now we have counted how many? 8. If you remember, right? Then Krishnaya has 4. Govindaya has 4. 8. Now if you come to the third part, go, pi, ja, na, va, la, ha, ya, and swaha. So that becomes 10. So 10 and 8, 18. So that is why the Gopal mantra is called as the 18 syllable Gopal mantra. Now, in many sampradayas, they actually give the 10 syllable Gopal mantra. Even our literature says that when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu got initiated from Ishwarapuri, he got the 10 syllable Gopal mantra. He didn't get the 18 syllable Gopal mantra. Even other sampradayas, they give the 10 syllable Gopal mantra. There are many other Gaudiya Paramparas also that give the 10 syllable Gopal mantra. Even if you see our Gopakumar, he chants the 10 syllable Gopal mantra. And 10 syllable Gopal mantra means something that starts with Gopijana. From here onwards, it starts and ends here. That's it. Okay, so that becomes 10 syllables. I had already counted for you. So that becomes 10 syllable mantra. So in that, this part is not there. Generally, some devotees consider, I have read a literature on that also, that the 10 syllable Gopal mantra is part of the Veda. So generally, only more Brahmanatva is needed to chant that. So it is said that generally the Brahmanas were given the 10 syllable Gopal mantra. Some people say that. But others give 18. Anyway, the Hari Bhakti Vilas talks about this 18 syllable mantra, and this is the mantra that is present as part of the Brahma Samhita as well. This is 18 syllable Gopal. So, I mean, the point is that we have the 18 syllable Gopal mantra. You cannot chant any mantra that you want. It's not that you just pick from a book and start chanting. So, since you have heard the 18 syllable Gopal mantra from the Guru, you have to chant that only. Okay, so even if you know the 10 syllable, you cannot simply say that I will chant 10 syllable. No, I just said from sake of knowledge perspective. But otherwise, this is the 18 syllable Gopal mantra that we have received from the spiritual master. Correct. So this 18 syllable Gopal mantra, as I said, Swaha at the end basically is like offering oblations. Correct. So like we all know in typical way, in a yajna ceremony or something, there is Swaha like that. Right. That means you're offering oblations. So you're basically, what you're essentially saying is, you're saying that I offer my oblations. Basically, you're offering your existence to these three deities. Okay, the Sambandha Vigraha, the Abhideya Vigraha, and the Prayojana Vigraha. With obviously an intention of attaining the Prayojana Vigraha eventually, but through the Sambandha, Abhideya, etc. This is the meaning of the mantra. And this mantra is considered, as I told you, the Gopal mantra is considered the most important among all that we have. So so generally, the japa, the meditation of these also has to be done in a very reverential mood. That's why when we chant these mantras, they are to be done in a clean state of mind. These are Pancharatra mantras. They are not like as in, it's not like the Hare Krishna Mahamantra that we just go in the street and we just chant loudly, or right, we chant in the bathroom, or we do, like the Harinam we can take anywhere. But these mantras are to be chanted in a clean state. You're taken, you sit down properly, you ideally you can do an achaman as well. Traditionally, the Brahmanas would do a Sandhya Vandana. So, as part of that, they would chant these mantras. So, like that. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, if you read, there will be two types of things that Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami talks about. He will say Krishna Nama and he will say Krishna Mantra. Okay, so I'm repeating again. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, you will see on many occasions Krishna Kaviraj talks about Krishna Nama and Krishna Mantra. Whenever Krishna Nama is spoken, it refers to what? The Hare Krishna. And whenever Krishna Mantra is said, it refers to Gopal Mantra. So you need to know that. This was the Sampradayak Mantra. And this is called as a mantra. So these are mantras. The Harinam is Nama. We call it Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. That's another completely different point. But actually it is coming under the category of Nama. It's the holy name. It's the Bhagavad Marga. And this is Pancharatra Marga. Anyway, so this is about the Gopal Mantra. The next thing I wish to talk about is something called as the Kama Gayatri. The Kama Gayatri, if you see, this is by many writers, they say that if you consider the Brahma Gayatri to be like a raw mango, the Kama Gayatri is considered like a ripe mango, they say. Whatever, they are all mangoes. So as I said, Gayatri means something which has Sambandha, Abhideya, Prayojana. So if you see these three words which are there, they are significant. There is something called Vidmahe, there is something called Dhimahi, and there is something called Prachodaya. So Vidmahe means what? To know. Vid means to know, right? Like Veda. You say Veda means what? To know, knowledge. So Vidmahe means I know or I try to understand. So that is Sambandha. Dhimahi means what? Dhimahi means I meditate upon. So that is Abhideya. Dhimahi means to meditate. And Prachodaya basically means let me attain, let me be completely enlightened by, like that. So that is actually Prayojana. That is like a goal. Okay. So here again in the Kama Gayatri, Krishna is addressed in three ways. He is addressed as Kama Devaya. Kama Devaya refers to Madan Mohana, correct? Because even Madan Mohan and Kama Deva actually have the same meaning, you see. Kamadeva, Madan Mohana means what? One who is attracting the Cupid. And that is only.
Madan.
So the word Madan Mohana and basically Kamadeva, it's literally the same thing, correct? So it's like there's no difference between these two words, Madan Mohan and Kamadeva. So, so that is Sambandha deity. Now, Pushpa Bhanaya means one who is with a bow, flower, Pushpa Bhana. That means a bow made up of, he's shooting flowers with a bow. So this is referring to the transcendental Cupid who is attracting everybody's senses by, shooting flowers. And this refers to Govinda because Govinda means one who enlivens the senses. How does he attract our senses? By shooting the arrows of the Kamadeva which he has. This is basically flower arrows. Okay, so the Pushpa Bana refers to Govinda. Please try to understand because Govinda means what? Govinda, Go means senses, right? It's like Goswami, one who is the master of senses. Govinda means one who is the master of the cow and the senses. But here we are using the term senses. And that same Lord Krishna is, how does he attract everybody's senses? By shooting these arrows. And Anangaha means one who does not have a material body itself. That is basically referring to Gopinathji, right? Because it's referring to the transcendental Cupid, because the Rasa Leela which Krishna performs with the gopis, etc., that is not made up of this mundane Prakrita Sharira. It is the transcendental, literally, there's no material contamination or tinge in it. You can understand that from the word Anangaha. That means without a body. Without a body means not without any body, without any material. So that is what is being referred to here as Ananga. So again, if you carefully see, it has Sambandha, it has, I mean, the DT also. So as I said, Vidmahe Sambandha, Dhimahi is again Abhideya because that is meditate. Prachodayad is to attain, so that is Prayojana. And again, Kamadeva is Madan Mohana, so it is Sambandha. Pushpabhana is again basically, there are 5 arrows of this transcendental Cupid, which are, I'll just read that out as well. I have a, one second, I have a document where I have listed that. Just give me a second. Yeah. Just give me 1 second. Yeah, the 5 flowers associated with the Kama Bija are mango, Ashoka, Madhavi, Jasmine, and Bakula. Okay, so these are considered, there are all these commentaries of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, where he talks about the mango flower as Chitta Kandarbha, the cupid of the mind, Ashoka flower as Kamananda Prakasha, manifestation of bliss of love, Bakula flower as Vidyananda Dhara, the bliss of wisdom, and so on. Madhavi flower is Koti Chandra Mohini, and Jasmine flower is Koti Prema Mohini. So there are these 5 arrows which are part of Kamadeva's possession. He has all these with him, and he's shooting, and he's attracting everybody's senses with that. So that is how our literature explains this entire concept. And if you see the Kama Bija Kleem also, in that the Ka refers to Krishna, La to Radharani, and so on. So like that, that is also, that Kleem itself has Radha Krishna in it. That is why it is called as Bija. Okay, that's why it is called as a Bija. So that the Bija word itself, so Bija means what? It's a seed, and seed has everything in it. Okay, so the seed itself has the whole mantra in it. But then when it is expanded, it comes out like that. So that is how it is. Yeah. Now about this Kama Gayatri, many of you will be surprised. I'm not even sure if you had noted, but in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Prabhupada actually talks about the Kama Gayatri. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya 8.138, we just look at that verse. Vrindavane aprakrita navina madana Kama Gayatri Kama Vijay Yantra Upasana. In the spiritual realm of Vrindavan, Krishna is the spiritual, ever fresh Cupid. He is worshipped by the chanting of Kama Gayatri mantra with the spiritual seed clean. Okay, I'm just fast forwarding the purport. Yeah, look at that. I'm seeing the purport here. The Kama Gayatri mantra is like a Vedic hymn, but it is the supreme personality of Godhead himself. There is no difference between Kama Gayatri and Krishna. Both are composed of 24.5 transcendental syllables. I'll come to that soon. The mantra depicted in the letters is also Krishna, and the mantra arises just like the moon. The mantra, in fact, Prabhupada has given the whole Kama Gayatri in the Chaitanya Charitamrita purport. If any of you have read these verses carefully, you would have already noticed that the Kama Gayatri is given. In the mantra, Kleem Kamadevaya Vidmahe Pushpabhanaya Dhimahi Tanno Ananga Prachodayat, Krishna is called Kamadeva, Pushpabhana, and Ananga. Kamadeva is Madan Mohan, DT, who established our relationship with Krishna. Pushpabhana, who carries arrow made up of flowers, 5 types of flowers I told you, is Govinda. And Ananga is Gopijana Vallabha, who satisfies all the gopis and is the ultimate goal of life. The Kama Gayatri, Prabhupada again mentions it, simply doesn't belong to the material world. When one is advanced in spiritual understanding, he can worship Supreme Personality Godhead with his spiritually purified senses. And the purport goes on. Okay, and Prabhupada also says that Brahma received it from Krishna's flute and so on. Correct. So this is about the Kama Gayatri. Now, there's another purport in Chaitanya Charitamrita 21:125, where this elaboration is given. Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is identical with the Vedic hymn called Kama Gayatri. Look at that. Kama Gayatri Mantra Rupa Hai Krishna Swarupa Sardha Chabhisa Akshara Tarahaya Se Akshara Chandrahaya Krishna Kari Udaya Vijagata Kaila Kamamaya. These syllables are compared to the moons that arise in Krishna, thus all the 3 worlds are filled with desire. Okay, so we will see this. There is a little explanation. The face of Krishna is the king of the moons, and the body of Krishna is the throne. Thus the king governs the society of moons. Purport. Krishna's face is considered the king of moons, and his body is considered the throne. All other Chandras are considered to be subordinate moons. His left cheek is a moon, right cheek is a moon, his forehead is considered half moon, spot of sandalwood pulp on his forehead is considered a moon, and his fingernails and toenails are different moons. So basically, Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami talks about how Krishna's form is comprising of 24 and a half moons. Okay, so you need to know the calculation, how 24 and a half, right? Because the Krishna's face is a moon, left cheek, right cheek are also moons, 3. Then there is a spot of sandalwood on his forehead, that is a moon. The forehead itself is half moon, so this is 4 and a half. And then it's 10 fingernails and 10 toenails, they are all moons, so that is 20. And 20 and 4 and a half is 24 and a half. So that is how this 24 and a half moons. So Krishna's form is considered having 24 and a half moons. Now, if you go into the mantra itself, the mantra also has 24 and a half syllables. So we just count that. So ka, ma, de, va, ya. Okay, 5. Vi, dma. Dma becomes again 1. I told you, right? A syllable means something that should end with a vowel. Dma, hey. So 8 ho gaya. So 8. Okay. Then pu, shpa. Shpa becomes 1 syllable. Ba, na, ya. 5. Hi, ma, hi. Again 8. 8 and 8, 16. Keep it aside. Tan. Now tan becomes 1 syllable because the rule in Sanskrit is if a letter doesn't have a like tan, the na is not having a vowel at the end, right? So it is attached to the previous syllable only. It doesn't become a new syllable. So tan is 1 syllable. No is 1. An is 1. Gah is 1. Okay. Tan, no, an, ang, gah. Sorry, there are 5. Pra, cho, the, and yat. Yat becomes again 1 syllable because that ta at the end is attached to the ya because ta doesn't have a vowel with it, right? So then that is counted as so ta, tan, no, an, ang, gah. So ये 5 हो गया. Pra, cho, the, yeah. So 9. So 9, 8, and 8 are actually 25. Correct? So it becomes 25 syllables, but we said 24 and a half. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gives a very long commentary that when this ya syllable comes after va, due to some Sanskrit rules, it is counted as half. So because of this ya coming after va, it is counted as half syllable. So it is 24 and a half syllables. And Vishwanath Chakravarti has given several esoteric commentaries where he talks about how which syllable of this mantra is which moon in the body of Krishna. So that is why Prabhupada is saying there in the purport of Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela that the Krishna's transcendental form is equal to the Kama Gayatri. Okay. Because Krishna's transcendental form is full of these moons and the Kama Gayatri is having all these aksharas and each akshara maps to one moon in the body of Krishna. So the 24 and a half moons. So basically the Kama Gayatri is considered Krishna himself, like that. Okay, so this is this. It's again a very powerful mantra. It's again a Pancharatra mantra. You need to be aware of that. So this Gopal mantra and Kama Gayatri are obviously Pancharatra mantras. Okay? Now we will come one before. Now another thing we just need to know for the sake of. I mean, I'm not even going into the detail of that, but if you know, every devata has a Gayatri. So the Gayatri is used in Pancharatra to worship the devata. I'm sure all of you would have heard, the famous Ganesh Gayatri, right? Ekadandaya vidmahe vakratundaya dhimahi tanno danti prachodaya. It has the same pattern. There is a vidmahe, dhimahi, and prachodaya. So every devata has Gayatri like this. So it's not only Krishna. Because we have Krishna Bhakta, we got Krishna mantra. But even the devatas have their own Gayatri. And their upasakas use these Gayatris to approach these devatas, to worship them. So any devatas to be worshipped, their Gayatri is used to worship. And the rule is when you chant, if you are going to take a pause, you should take the pause at the end of Sambandha Abhideya Prayojana. mean, you can't take the pause like Krishna, Kamadevaya Vidmahe. So you will not pause between Kamadevaya and Vidmahe. You will pause only after Vidmahe if you want to pause, like as you're chanting it. So similarly, like that, I mean, every Devata has Gayatri. I'm just trying to read some of them. Vedatmanaya Vidmahe Hiranya Garbhaya Dhimahi Tanno Brahma Prajode. So that's to Brahma. Similarly, there is one for Narasimha as well. Vajranakaya Vidmahe Tikshna Dangushtaya Dhimahi Tanno Narasimha Prajode. Then there is one for the sun god. Bhaskaraya Vidmahe Mahadyutikaraya Dhimahi Tanno Aditya Prajode. Then there is for Agni. Vaishwanaraya Vidmahe Larilaya Dhimahi Tanno Agni Prajode. Then there is for Durga Devi. Katyayanaya Vidmahe Kanya Kumari Dhimahi Tanno Durgi Prajode. So like this, there are Gayatris for every Devata, in the Pancharatra. So they are used by their upasakas to worship their particular deity. I'm just giving a technical background. So that's how it is. Right. So we are using the Gayatri for Gopala and Krishna because as worshippers of Krishna, that is our primary interest. So in our Sampradaya, we have been given these mantras which are towards Sri Krishna himself. Correct? Now, coming next, Gaur Gayatri. Obviously, you will ask a question whether Gaur Gayatri is also mentioned in the Pancharatra. So certainly no. So this Gaura Gayatri has been obviously composed by Gaudiya Vaishnavas at some particular point of time. I'm also trying to find out when they composed. But mostly it looks like it was there from the time of Haribhakti Vilas because when Saraswati Thakur started preaching in 1911, there was a lot of opposition to Gaur Gayatri, where many people were saying that, how can you have a Gayatri to Gaurang Mahaprabhu? It is not there in the Veda and so on. And in 1911, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur had a big argument with several Brahmanas, where he established that no, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is an eternal form of the Lord, and hence his Gayatri is certainly something which is significant. So this was Gaur Gayatri. So the Gaur Gayatri is obviously composed by Gaudiya Vaishnavas because for us, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Supreme Personality of God and we have to worship him. So he needs a Gayatri. So, a Gayatri was composed for him like that. Okay. So Chaitanya Vidmahe. Again, if you see Chaitanya is knowledge, right? Like you say Chaitanya. Chaitanya means it refers to knowledge. That thing. That is why Mahaprabhu is addressed as Chaitanya in the Sambandha section of the mantra. Vidmahe. I know him as Chaitanya. And I meditate upon him as Vishwambara. Why Vishwambara? Vishwambara is the maintainer of everybody. So when we say Vishwambara is the maintainer, he's not only maintaining a spiritual life as well. So as the maintainer, he becomes the Abhideya Vigraha. Right? As maintainer, he becomes the Abhideya Vigraha, hence he is called as Vishwambara. And Gaura is basically the Prayojana Vigraha because Gaura, this Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's name, Gaura, is basically having Go and Ra. That is Govinda and Radharani because it's Radha and Krishna. So Gaura becomes that name of Mahaprabhu, which is like a Prayojana address, which is the culmination, which is what you want to ultimately understand that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not different from Radha and Krishna. Okay, so you understand him as Chaitanya, you meditate upon him as the maintainer of everybody, Vishwambara. Ultimately, in order to achieve, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nahi, like that. So that is how this Gaur Gayatri comes up, right? So because we are in Gaudiya Sampradaya, so please try to understand. I don't think, at least I have not come across, there are no Gayatris for the other deities like Nityananda Prabhu and all that. They only have the Mula Mantra. Like Klim Devi Janava Vallabhaya Namaha for Nityananda Prabhu. Like Klim Gauraya Namaha is there for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Nityananda Prabhu also has his own Mula Mantra here, but that is not Gayatri. Okay, so this Gaura Gayatri is the fifth one that you chant in the seventh. Right, so that is a Gayatri because it has the Sambandha, Abhideya and Prayojana split. Then if you come one level before, there is the Guru Gayatri. Okay, now this Guru Gayatri also, again, now see the Guru Gayatri has a different bija, aim, because that is addressing the Chit Shakti. So here the main thing is Krishnanandaya. On this there is a commentary by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur where he says Krishnanandaya means Guru is giving pleasure to Radharani. So here Krishna Ananda means to give pleasure, we all know. Krishnanandaya means one who gives pleasure to Radharani. Here Krishna means Radharani. How does he give pleasure to Radharani? By so many services. By engaging in so many services. Like in Samsara Davala we have read Nikunja, Yulo, Ratikeli, Sitya. So by engaging in so many services, he is giving pleasure. So that becomes the Abhideya aspect. That is why Krishnanandaya, that comes in the Abhideya section. And of course, Guru Devaya Vidmahe, you meditate on the Guru and you basically Tanno Guru Prachodaya. Sorry, I think there is some printing mistake in the table that I'm using, so just ignore that. Tanno Guru Prachodaya. So the goal is to understand the Guru, or let me be illuminated, let me approach my Guru. Right? So that becomes the Guru Gayatri, like that. Now, the final one to be spoken briefly is the Brahma Gayatri. So, the Brahma Gayatri, as I told you, again, I'm just going back to the history once again. This wasn't given to women until Srila Prabhupada's time. We know that it was, even Saraswati Thakur gave Brahma Gayatri only to his male disciples. He didn't give it to his women disciples. Because in India, you don't see that in general. Because many scholars considered that the Brahma Gayatri has a nature of changing your heart. If your heart is hard, it makes it soft. If it is soft, it makes it hard. So generally, when there is a consideration like this, that the man's heart is hard, so by chanting the Brahma Gayatri, it becomes soft. For a woman, it can become other way. But I don't know whether Prabhupada said it, but when Prabhupada disciples says that in the West, both the men and women have hard hearts. So Prabhupada gave it to both to soften. As far as Indian women are concerned, I don't know. So no comments on that particular point. So everyone can decide whether their heart is already hard or soft or whatever. But anyway, you've got it. So that's where we are. So the Brahma Gayatri again is generally when you say Gayatri, it means Brahma Gayatri. Like even common man, if you say Gayatri, then they will understand it as Brahma Gayatri. Okay. Now, traditionally, the Brahma Gayatri was not chanted just like that. It was chanted part of Sandhya Vandan. Actually, if you see carefully now, in the Vedic Sanatana Dharma, not only the Brahmins, but even the Kshatriyas and the Vaishyas had a sacred thread. The men, correct? The Kshatriya and Vaishya also had. Just that in recent times, we don't see Kshatriyas and Vaishya Jati in India doing the sacred thread ceremony. Some of these people do just one day before marriage. Like some Marathas and all I've seen, they're Kshatriya Jati or whatever. One day before marriage, they will have a sacred thread ceremony. Generally, only the Brahmin Jati in India, still they have the sacred thread ceremony. But the other Jatis seem to have stopped it for some reason. But even when they had it, it's not that the Kshatriyas and Vaishyas were also chanting the same Brahma Gayatri. Only the Brahmins would chant Brahma Gayatri. The Kshatriyas had a different mantra. It's given in Rig Veda. I'm just repeating it here. Om Devasya Savitur Mati Masavam Vishwadevam Dhiya Bhagam Manamahe. So there is this mantra for Kshatriya. There's another mantra for Vaishyas. Om Vishwarupani Pratimunchate Kavi Prasa Veen Bhadram Vipade Chatushpade Vinakamakhyata Savita Varenyo Anuprayana Mushayo Visajjati. So this is from the Yajurveda. So the meanings of these are very similar to the Brahma Gayatri meaning. But for some reason, our rishis had kept different mantras for different jatis. But all were considered twice born. So the man would have a sacred thread. The general understanding, which even now the Brahmin jati in India follow, is that when somebody is brahmachari, he'll have only 3 threads. And when he gets married, he will have another 3. The idea is it is for his wife. So the woman doesn't have the sacred thread, but the man is wearing 6, where 3 is for himself and 3 is for his wife. So like that, the system is in India. Though of course in our society, we just give 6 to everybody. Even brahmacharis wear 6 only. But traditionally, this is how it is. Brahmacharis wear 3, and at marriage, they get additional 3, for the wife. It's for her that you're wearing. Because it was never considered that the man is doing something means the wife also has credit in it. So this was the general Indian system. And there was something called as Sandhya Vandana, which every member of the 3 castes would do. But unfortunately, most people have stopped it in very recent times. But if you even go 150, 100 years back, if you see in our scriptures, like in the Mahabharata, you will see all the Kshatriyas at sunset, they will stop and they will offer water to the sun. Okay, that is Arghya. And so Sandhya Vandan has all these components. There is Arghya, then there is invocation of the rishis who have given these mantras, then there is Gayatri Japa, and then finally there are again prayers offered to the sun and the Devatas and Vishnu also at the end of the day. Yeah. So like this, the Sandhya Vandana ritual was performed by people very regularly for ages, though it is unfortunate that people have stopped it. Now, the Hari Bhakti Vilas also says that the Brahma Gayatri must be chanted with Sandhya Vandana so that offenses one is protected from. So, especially if somebody is chanting these mantras without Sandhya Vandana, just sitting and chanting, you have to especially ensure that offense is not committed. So, for that, sitting in the right posture and focusing, concentrating, being in a clean state when you chant, all these things become important because these are not like the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra that anytime you can chant. I can chant Hare Krishna even when I'm shaving in the bathroom. It doesn't matter, right? Because holy name can be chanted anytime. But these mantras are not like that. There are rules how, how the body and mind should be. Anyway, so that is the Brahma Gayatri. So even if you see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, at least 20, 30 times you will see the term Prabhu Madhyano Karibe. It will say, and Prabhupada translates that most of the time as afternoon duty, sometimes he says afternoon bath and so on. But actually Madhyana is nothing but the afternoon Sandhya Vandana. So even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu obviously did the Sandhya Vandana because that was like the mandatory rule for every Brahman. I mean, you had to do, otherwise you're not considered only part of Varnashram. The Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, they all had to do the Sandhya Vandana ritual. So we see that everybody did it, but it is somehow sad that people have stopped doing in recent times. Anyway, now those of you who have got this mantra from your guru, obviously you'll be chanting because you've got it. But ensure the purity of body, mind, etc. Wherever you sit to do this. Now again in this mantra also there is three parts to it: the Sambandha part, the Abhideya part, and the Prayojana part, like all the others. The only difference is here Abhideya has the Dhimahi and Prayojana has Prachodaya. So that part is very clear. The Sambandha has something called Varenyam instead of Vidmahe. So Varenyam has a similar meaning to Vidmahe. Varenyam is like the meaning is worshipable. So the whole thing is, I understand. Tat means that, and Savitu basically refers to the Surya Devata, sun god. So Varenyam means I understand the worshipable Surya Devata. I am approaching him. So that is the Sambandha part, correct? That is Sambandha. Now when you say Surya Devata, Savitu, at one level it can be Surya Deva, but at another level it is Surya Narayana, the super soul in the heart of Surya. Because that Savitu, who is Savitu? Savitu is the sun god. In the sun god, in his heart, there is a Paramatma, right? And it is because of him only that the sun is effulgent, Baswan, Yatasma Sakaleshu Nijasu Teja. The Brahma Samhita says that, correct? So the whole potency of the Savitu is due to this Swarat Surya Narayan who is present in him. Because of which, right? Because otherwise, any source of energy in the world has some other source, except the sun, which doesn't have any other source of energy. Okay, so that source is actually the Surya Narayan. So we need to understand. And then we meditate upon him as the Deva, who is Vargo, not Varso, it's Vargo. That means who is divine, effulgent, the effulgent Lord. I'm meditating upon him. Why am I meditating upon him? Dhiya basically means intelligence. So that my intelligence is properly directed towards him. The Brahma Gayatri is basically petitioning the Lord, saying that let my intellect always be directed towards you and not get misdirected here and there. That is the goal. You want your intelligence here to be prachodaya, completely fixed upon the Supreme Lord like that. So that's like the meaning of it. However, there's another interesting meaning which I wish to briefly take up. This is the meaning given by Sripad Jiva Goswami in the Paramatma Sandarbha. Okay, so the Paramatma Sandarbha is one of the Shad Sandarbha where Jiva Goswami gives this particular meaning. So have a look at it. I put it on the screen. So what he basically does is he says the first canto, first chapter, first verse of the Srimad Bhagavatam is referring to the Gayatri mantra. How does it refer? It's Janmadhyasya Yataha. That basically refers to the Omkar. Because the Omkar has the ability to create, maintain, and destroy. Everything is coming from Omkar only. Na? So that is Janmadhyasya Yataha. Then Swarat is that Savituhu. Because what is the main characteristic of the Surya Narayan? He's Swarat. He's independent source of energy. He's the independent Lord, supremely effulgent. So that is Swarat. Diyo Yona Prachodhyat means, right? That is Tene Brahma Hrida. Tene Brahma Hrida is the same thing as Diyo Yona, right? That means it's a prayer for inspiration of the intellect. Brahma means the Veda, correct? You know, Tene Brahma Hrida Adi Kavaye. In the first canto, first chapter, first verse. It's nothing but, we are, the Lord is actually giving that inspiration of in the heart, and that is Diyo Yona, correct? So the same thing. Yatratre Sargo Mrisha is that Bhur Bhuvaswaha. So that is actually before the Gayatri. Om Bhur Bhuvaswaha, then only it comes. So Bhur Bhuvaswaha is basically the threefold divisions of everything in creation. Bhur Loka, Bhuvar Loka, Suvar Loka. And even in our body, there is a physical plane, mental plane, intellectual plane. So all that is analogous to the Bhu, Bhuva, and Swaha, which is Trisarga, right? Three types of divisions in terms of the Sarga creation. And Bhargo Deva says Dhamna Svena. Dhamna Svena is the transcendental, independent, beautiful Lord. Right? Effulgent. Dhamna Svena, very effulgent. Bhargo is actually effulgent. Param is Varenyam, very worshipable. And Dhimahi is meditation. Jiva Goswami basically says that the first canto, first chapter, first verse of the Srimad Bhagavatam is very much the Gayatri mantra only, stated in a way that everybody can access. So if you remember, I told you, right, in the Bhagavatam is Bhagavat Marg is for everybody. Whereas all this Vedic Marg, Pancharatrika Marg, they have rules and regulations. Pancharatrika Marg has rules. Vedic Marg has even more stringent rules and regulations. If you simply chant the Vedic mantra in an improper state or unqualified person chants it, it can cause harm to that person. But the Bhagavat Marg is not like that. It is for everybody. So just imagine our rishis, they never thought that, okay, only we will give benefit to the Brahmin. No, it is not like that. That same benefit is given in a different mantra. So the Bhagavatam first verse, if somebody would chant it, Janmadhyasya Yataha, it is literally the same as the Gayatri mantra. Prabhupada also talks about that in the purport, but it comes from Jiva Goswami's Paramatma. Right. So, so that's it. I think I pretty much covered whatever I wanted to. I gave you a brief overview of the meaning, the purpose of these various Gayatris and so forth. In case anybody has any question, you can please raise your hand and I'll try to answer. Tirthandar, yeah. Anybody with a raise of hand? Or if you wish to unmute? Yes, Mataji, please go ahead. Ujjwal Radhe Mataji, you're asking something or? Okay, I think she's not asking. Yeah, Balram. Go ahead, Balramji.
Prabhuji, like we also heard that there are three different, the Gayatris are called three different names in the morning, the afternoon, and the evening. Gayatris are called different names. Can you also please explain what is the significance of that? Saraswati and Gayatri.
See what happens now, the sun, the Surya Devata himself, when he's moving throughout the day, he assumes a different, mood, or some people in fact say that, I have to study that a little bit more, but it has something to do with the moving sun. The moving sun basically is taking on different roles at different parts of the day. So there is a slight different address. But let me tell you one thing, that most of us, when we chant the Brahma Gayatri, we are addressing the Surya Narayana in Surya. We are not directly, it's like, see, the mantras are multi-level. At one level, they address a Devata. At another level, they address the Paramatma in the heart of the Devata. So at least when you and me are chanting the Brahma Gayatri, it is basically addressing the Surya Narayana. Correct? So the Supreme Lord only who has not changed. So the sun may change, but in terms of his role and everything. But the Surya Narayana is the same. So let's leave that. Yeah.
Okay.
Anyone else with any other question, clarification, doubt?
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mataji, can you go ahead?
Prabhuji, regarding the requirement of meditation of depth by chant, when we are traveling out here.
Okay, now the Gayatri, generally the understanding is that when one travels, when one should stop. Now, if you see if you see Krishna book also, I mean, if you see the Bhagavatam, when in the first canto, I think 10th chapter or something, when Krishna is going to Dwaraka, so it will come that they stopped at sunset and they did the offerings to the sun god and then they proceeded. You will see such verses in our scriptures. Because traditionally, what happened is people never traveled like this non-stop. Like nowadays, I mean, we take a flight and go to New York for 24 hours, we're in the flight only. So it never happened like that. So there is no pramana for it. The pramanas in the Shastra are very clear. In the moving vehicle, one cannot chant. So one has to stop and be in a state of cleanliness and sit in a direction and then chant. It's like that. But for some things you don't get pramana very easily because in Shastra they never assumed that people are going to be like us who will keep traveling without stopping. So this was never the case. This is a very modern motorized vehicles and car and everything. Not car, the train and flight and all have come about. So I know that devotees chant. Most people chant. Even I have chanted many times. But at this point, I'm pretty unsure about it. As in, it is technically it's not to be done. Okay. And there are other things also. Many times you're traveling in the train for 24 hours. One has responded to the call of nature and so on. So basically, one is not even clean. These mantras require a state of cleanliness as well to chant. Right. So we are traveling in a train, overnight train. We are going to Vrindavan or somewhere, and we have obviously responded to the call of nature, etc. So you have slept and you have so you are not in a clean state of mind. I prefer just chanting the holy name, which is available for us, and maybe later you can just cover up. You can add it. That's what I prefer to. But I don't think there is any easy praman. But I do know that most devotees chant. In any state they chant. But that is something which is not having pramana. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
Haribol. Any other question? Anybody with anything?
Hare Krishna.
Haribol. Yes.
Prabhuji, what for any offenses we are committed, is there any prayaschitta mantra to be done after Gayatri?
So see now these things were part of the Sandhya Vandana process, but there is one general mantra Angahinam Kriyahinam Vittihinam Chayat Bhavet Attu Tat Sarvam Achchidram Krishna Karshna Prasadatah. So we chant that in our as pujaris we chant that. That means Angahinam Kriyahinam Vittihinam Chayat Attu Tat Sarvam Achchidram. If I have done any offenses, please forgive me. At the end of every deity worship, that mantra is said. So maybe I'm sure all of you will get connected to your respective temple, deity department, etc. You can learn that mantra. But generally, one is supposed to say these things. Otherwise, if an offense is there, then because please try to understand these mantras are very powerful mantras. And see, Harinam again. See what happens is in that also there is Namaprad, Namabas, etc. But still, the holy name is considered, more magnanimous in terms of its like we see Jagai Madai, they're drinking and they're chanting Hare Krishna, they're making fun of Nityananda Prabhu and others. But even in such a case, the holy name actually protected them from that. But these Gayatri mantras are not like that. They are more powerful. They are supposed to be chanted reverentially. But pick up the Parashchitta mantra from the DT department and you can use it. Hari Bol. Anybody else with any other question?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Samir Krishna Prabhu.
Prabhuji, in our training session, they said that if you face Dakshin or Disha also while chanting Gayatri, especially in Balaji temple, if you face Balaji, you will be facing Dakshin Disha. So they said that it is okay because when we face deities, it is Purva only. But I didn't find any praman for this. Like in Hari Bhakti Vilas also, he says that Unmukhena, Prangmukhena, like north or east. There is no praman I found about deity. Facing DT is east.
I not only east, by and large, what I have noticed is most of our devotees don't obey any direction at all. I have seen devotees do Gayatri, sorry to say, but in any direction, 360 degrees. So no one, it is not considered important in our tradition. Maybe one reason is there is not much talk about it as well. So maybe one reason is also that our main process is Harinam Sankirtan. So that is why the Gayatri and the rules surrounding it are not elaborated so much. Maybe, but yeah, as you're saying, I agree. It is supposed to be east or north, and your DTs are also supposed to be east only, na? So there is no conflict. As in.
Right. Prabhuji, but even in NVCC Temple Hall, if we face DTs for chanting Gayatri, we'll be facing west.
Yeah,
so,
but actually, as pujaris, what we do is when we go in the backside and chant Gayatri, we face the deities and chant.
Right.
Like when we go to do puja na, in MBCC temple, we go behind the altar and chant. Na?
Mm-hmm.
There only we chant, facing the deity. But in our temple hall, you can see devotees chanting in all 360 degree. I'm not even sure they look only at the deity. It is just said, look at the deity and chant. But my general observation is nobody observes any direction. Either they have concluded it is not important or whatever. But if you look at Shastra, the direction is very clearly mentioned.
Yes. Okay.
Hari Bol.
Hari Bol, Prabhuji.
Yes. Who's this? Yeah. Yes, Mataji, go ahead.
Prabhuji, I have a question that when we miss the Gayatri, like in periods or in traveling, so how can we recover those Gayatris?
You can chant extra, na? कितना time लगता है मतलब 5 minute का साधना है. You can always cover up later.
Okay, Prabhuji. So
10
is it okay to
chant each only 10, right? 10 is the minimum.
Yes.
So the count is generally either 10, 32, 64, 108, like that. So if you miss 3 days, then what? It's 10, 10, 10. Then you just chant 108 later, like one round of each of it. That's it.
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Any other question or comment?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Okay, there are no questions. So, yeah. So I hope.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I had a question.
Yeah.
Prabhuji, when we are chanting Gayatri, suppose if we are not able to chant Gayatri due to some reason, and they told us to shift it, we should chant 2 times the Gayatri, the next Gayatri, and also we should fast. We should not eat anything because we have not chanted Gayatri. So sometimes if we miss even the second Gayatri, then also that fasting continues, or how is it like?
I don't want to say that. That is too much to say, fast and all that. If somebody is traveling by train somewhere ladies are in their periods or whatever. Are they going to fast or something? No, that's fine.
300 meters, turn right onto Pushpa Park Road.
Huh?
Okay.
Yeah. If you're covering up, it's fine.
Yeah. That's what I wanted to ask.
So if you carelessly miss it, then fasting is an atonement. But
Yes, of course. That is
because of genuine things also. It's like you're just unable to do it because of the circumstance. So yeah,
Exactly.
cover up. Yeah. Very good.
But rest all, it was really very nice, very fine-tuned
Hare
understanding you
Krishna,
gave
Prabhuji.
us. So thank you so much.
Very good. Yes, Gopal, go ahead.
Yes, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, regarding Mula Mantra for Balaji, what is generally chanted, Prabhuji?
1 second. Balaji. I have not done Balaji workshop. But I think it will be Clean Krishna and Namaha only. I don't think they have a separate one for Balaji per se, so I can find out. Because I have been only a Pujari in NBCC, so I have not gone to Balaji. So,
We have
Prabhuji,
Balaji
when
Diti.
these
if anybody knows here, so Balaji is there a separate one?
Prabhuji, when these Mula mantras are
300
chanted,
meters, turn right at Akhil Kranti Chowk onto Nissan Main Road.
When you are worshipping the deity, that means it's like when you
okay,
approach any deity, na, like I'll just tell you 1 second. I'll just open the page 229. Yeah, the whole list. 1 second. Yeah, so these Mula mantras, na, they are like whenever you do any offering to the deity, you have to chant it. Like for Lord Ramachandra, it is Klim Ramaya Namaha.
okay.
Suppose if you are offering Aarti, Dhupa you are offering.
Uh-huh.
First Dhupa, Esha Dhupa. Esha Dhupa means this is Dhupa. To whomever you are
Uh-huh.
offering to Prabhupada, then Aim Param Gurave Namaha. Your Guru, then
Oh,
Aim Gurave Namaha. Like that. So Chaitanya
so
Mahaprabhu,
like it should be just chanted once and then continue the aratis, right? That's how it
as
is.
you are chanting, I mean, what we eventually do is by the time we start, moving it around, we just chant it like that.
Okay.
For everything, there is Mula Mantra. For Balaji, nothing separate is given as I see in this book. So I think I will use the Krishna Mantra only. But though I'll have to ask and find out if they have something.
Hmm. Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Any final comment by anybody?
Prabhuji, regarding while we are worshipping in house also, Jagannath Baladev Subhadra, should we use the Mula Mantra?
Yeah, you can. Why not? I mean, since you know it, then you can. I mean, you have been given, na? So why not use it?
Yes, please. Okay. I mean, deities which are Prana Pratishtha deities only we have to say.
Are you saying that Jagannath is not there in your home then? What are you talking
No, I am not saying so, but
about? No, nothing like that. There's nothing to do with Prana
okay.
You can use it. I mean, no, if you don't want, you need not, but you can. At least I use it. So it's fine.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
You're given this so that you can do deity worship with all the mantras. It's a more sophisticated way of worshipping the deity. Like, for example, you offer, na? So you have to offer like this. Idam nevedyam. Idam paniyam. Paniyam means please accept this water. And then say the mantra. Klim Krishna Namaha, Sri Ram Radhika Swaha. So whichever deity. If you have Radha Krishna deities, for example. Radha Krishna deity have one combined pranam, this thing, Mula Mantra also. Srim Klim Radha Krishna Abhyam Namaha. So basically you offer it. So it's a very sophisticated way of worshipping, very formal way of worshipping. Correct. So, since you have the mantras, I believe everybody should use them. Otherwise, why did you get it? What is the purpose? Yeah. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji.
और भक्तवृंद की जय, गौर प्रेमानंदे, हरे हरे बोल. Thank you very much.
Hare Hare.